If you've ever wished you could decode what women truly want, not the polite answers they give, but the things they actually long for deep down, this is for you. What if I told you that what attracts a woman the most is rarely what she says out loud? In fact, the things that spark deep desire often go completely unspoken. But once you understand them, your dating game changes forever. And trust me, number 6 will absolutely flip your perspective. Let's dive in. These are 7 hidden things women secretly want, but will almost never ask you for, and knowing them gives you an edge most men don't even know exists. 1. Stop seeking approval, be the prize. Most men walk into interactions with women hoping to be liked. They subconsciously seek approval, laughing too hard at her jokes, agreeing with everything she says, texting too much, or trying to impress her non-stop. Here's the truth. When you act like you're trying to win her over, you automatically place her above you. But high-value women aren't drawn to men who chase, they're drawn to men who attract. Flip the script. Be the prize. Let her feel that your attention is earned, not freely given to anyone who's attractive. Carry yourself like your time is valuable, like you're interviewing her for a place in your life, not the other way around. This doesn't mean being arrogant, it means being self-assured. Women can feel the difference between a man who values himself and one who's desperate to be chosen. And the one who values himself, that's the man who stands out. 2. Be a challenge, not a checklist. When it comes to attraction, many guys fall into the trap of thinking there's a formula, a specific set of boxes to tick off in order to win a woman over. Say all the right things, always be available, compliment her constantly, avoid conflict, and you'll be rewarded with her affection. But here's the truth. Attraction doesn't work like a job application. Women aren't looking for perfection, they're looking for connection. And real connection comes from emotion, not obligation. Trying too hard to be agreeable or predictable can actually dull attraction. It gives off the impression that you're not living your own life, that your world revolves around her before she's even earned that place. That's not romantic, it's unbalanced. Instead, be the kind of person who has his own passions, boundaries, and goals. Someone who's not afraid to say no, who doesn't instantly rearrange his schedule for anyone, and who has a sense of self that exists independently of her approval. That's not being rude or aloof, it's being grounded. That's attractive. Mystery and unpredictability don't mean being flaky or manipulative. They mean you're not broadcasting every move or seeking constant validation. You let the relationship unfold naturally. You allow space for curiosity to grow, space for her to wonder, what's he about? What's he doing when he's not with me? What's on his mind? And that emotional tension, not stress, but intrigue, is the lifeblood of attraction. So don't be a checklist. Be a man with a life she wants to be a part of. Be kind, confident, and slightly unpredictable, because in the end, real relationships aren't built on scripts. They're built on spark. 3. Know when to lead and when to lean back. Ever wonder why some guys effortlessly attract high-quality women, while others get labeled as too controlling or too passive? It all comes down to one thing: balance. The ability to lead without dominating, and to relax without disappearing. Here's the truth. Leadership in a relationship isn't about barking orders or always being in charge. It's about direction, offering clarity, structure, and confidence that invites her to trust and relax into the moment. Whether it's choosing the spot for dinner, planning a spontaneous weekend getaway, or setting boundaries with respect, women are drawn to men who move with intention. But here's the nuance. If you're always leading, you're not leaving room for her energy to express. True polarity, the magnetic dance between masculine and feminine, requires flow. That means sometimes you set the pace, and sometimes you sit back and admire her rhythm. A mature man knows how to read the moment. When she's indecisive or unsure, he calmly guides. When she's inspired and expressive, he leans back and lets her lead the dance. That's not weakness, that's emotional intelligence. The magic is in the dance, not in domination. Let her surprise you. Let her plan something once in a while. Let her energy rise to meet yours. Because when both partners have space to lead and follow, the relationship becomes electric, full of respect, play, and mutual admiration. So remember, don't try to control the moment. Learn to guide it. Don't always take charge. Sometimes, let her shine. That's how true connection and true polarity is created. 4. Dress like you respect yourself. Let's cut the fluff. The way you present yourself speaks before you do. You don't get a second chance at a first impression, and your style is either building attraction or silently killing it. Here's the deal. You don't need a $2,000 outfit to look like a man who's got his life together. You need presence. You need effort. You need to send the message, I value myself, and I show it. Because whether you like it or not, how you dress is a reflection of how you carry yourself internally. Wrinkled clothes, sloppy energy, dirty shoes, lack of attention. Strong, clean fit. That's confidence without saying a word. Women notice everything not because they're superficial, but because they're intuitive. They pick up on the little signals that say, this man takes care of himself. And when you show up looking sharp, groomed, and put together, it communicates that you've got standards and that you live by them. But this isn't about labels or chasing trends. It's about fit, cleanliness, and intentionality. A well-fitted shirt that complements your build. Clean shoes that show you give a damn. A subtle scent that lingers in her memory. These details matter, not because she's judging, but because you should. Want a high-value woman? Show up like a high-value man. And that starts with how you walk out the door. Because at the end of the day, when you respect yourself, the world responds in kind. 5. Take the reins without asking. Confidence doesn't ask for permission, it moves. If you want to be more attractive instantly, stop hesitating and start leading. Here's the real game changer. You don't need to dominate or control. You just need to move with certainty. Whether it's choosing a seat at the restaurant, guiding her through a crowded space, or planning the night without over-explaining, those little moments where you decide without doubt are pure gold. Why? Because it sends one clear message, I've got this. And that phrase in energy, not just words, is what makes a woman exhale, relax, and feel safe in your presence. Women don't want a passive man who constantly asks, is this okay? Or, what do you want to do? They want someone who can read the room, take initiative, and still leave space for her input if she wants to offer it. The key is presence, not pressure. You're not barking orders or trying to impress, you're simply showing that you trust your own judgment. And that calm decisiveness, that's what allows her to drop her guard, open up, and connect. When a woman feels that you can handle situations without needing to control them, she doesn't just feel attracted, she feels safe. And when she feels safe, she softens, she opens emotionally, she trusts more. And yes, she desires more. 6. Master the art of giving, especially in bed. If you really want to stand out in a woman's mind and body, here's the truth. Slow is sexy. Generosity is unforgettable. Presence is everything. Most men treat foreplay like a means to an end, something to rush through on the way to the main event. But the men she remembers, the ones she craves even years later, they treat foreplay like the event. Here's what most won't say out loud. Women want to be savored, not just desired. They want a man who isn't racing to the finish line, but fully immersed in her experience. A man who's not there to prove anything, but to feel everything. That means eye contact. That means breathing with her, not over her. That means taking your time with every kiss, every touch, every taste, not for applause, but for connection. Oral pleasure isn't a chore, it's a gift. And when you give it with presence, without ego, without rush, it sends a message louder than words. I'm here for you. I see you. I want all of you. No performance, no pressure, just presence. When she feels that kind of attention, she lets go in ways she normally doesn't. And when she lets go, that's when intimacy goes from physical to unforgettable. So don't aim to impress, aim to attune. Touch her like she's art. Breathe her in like she's a moment you never want to end. Because when you give without agenda, she'll want to give everything right back. 7. Set boundaries and stick to them. Let's get something straight. You're not here to be liked by everyone, you're here to be respected. And that starts with your boundaries. Most men fear saying no because they think it'll push her away. But the truth? A man who can't say no will never be truly desired. Why? Because always saying yes doesn't read as kindness, it reads as neediness. It says, your approval is more important than my integrity. And that energy, Women feel it. They may appreciate it on the surface, but deep down, it kills polarity. Real attraction is rooted in strength, not the kind that dominates, but the kind that says, I won't cancel my plans just to be convenient. I don't tolerate disrespect even in small doses. I protect my peace, time, and focus because they're worth something. And here's the secret most guys miss. Women test boundaries not because they're toxic, but because they're wired to seek stability. They want to know, can this man hold his frame when I push? Can he stay grounded when I get emotional? Can he lead with clarity, even when I challenge it? If the answer is yes, she feels safe. She respects you, and that respect fuels desire. So set your standards and live by them, not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty. Because when you value your time, energy, and self-respect, she will too. And that makes you rare. And remember, being a man with boundaries doesn't make you hard to love. It makes you impossible to forget. Women won't say these things out loud, but they feel them deeply. The men who get it, the ones who embody purpose, boldness, presence, and boundaries, stand out effortlessly. If this opened your eyes or made you think differently, hit like, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your next level self is just a mindset shift away. See you in the next video, and remember, real power is quiet, confident, and undeniable.